It is Sunday night, which you know what that means. Another edition of ARL's Big Grid Sundays here on Le Mans Ultimate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fuji Speedway for tonight's event, the penultimate rounds of the Big Grid Sunday Championship, where our Pro-Am, and Pro drivers all take to different circuits around the world in their GT3 cars in order to find out who's the best. Because after all, what is racing about if not for being the best? My name is Jack Mays. I will be joined tonight by Mr. Ted Edwards, who is, let's just say, running a few minutes behind, but will be joining us any second. Well, we're in for a bit of a stormer of a penultimate season, a personal favorite circuit of mine, which is Fuji Speedway. It's the Grand Prix layout, which is different from the classic layout because turn 10 is a chicane versus just a normal right-hander. No crazy weather, nothing super intricate or exciting as far as track conditions. It looks like a very pretty day out there today. As we are into qualifying, it has just begun. The AM drivers taking to the circuit for the first 11 or so minutes of our race. We start on board with none other than Mr. Cameron Magruder, the current championship leader in AM class, as it stands in his famous Lightning McQueen inspired BMW. I feel like it'd be more apparent on the Mustang, but we do have one of those in the field today as well. It is good to be back for another evening on Sundays, because I have missed, I've missed a lot, quite frankly, between getting sick and being busy and being sick while being busy. I've missed a little bit, but it is absolutely stellar to be back in the box and at Fuji. Can't really get that much better. Maybe if it was Imola. I do really like it. But Fuji might be my second favorite among all of our circuits. It does seem that we've got a handful of our AM drivers heading out onto the circuit. Everybody getting ready to put down laps. They'll get quicker as the track evolves, as the tires come up to temperature, as always. Tonight we do have a 1 hour and 15 minutes, 75-minute sprint race. Double tires, double fuel, as those who've been racing and watching are familiar with, as I believe. Happy for you to join us, Mr. Edwards. Welcome in for the evening. Never mind, he's not quite here yet. False alarm. I'll just make that joke again when he's actually with us. But no, it will certainly be a good race. The double fuel and tires have sort of made, it's almost put strategy at the forefront of what normally a shorter and more simplified race could be about. And I think it's really taught everybody the value of fuel saving, I would argue. I've been singing the praises of fuel saving ever since I've been in the box talking about this race, because the difference between outright pace and just a little bit of fuel saving can be the difference between a position or 2 or 3 or 5. Cameron Magruder getting ready to come across the line to start us out for our benchmark with a 42.2. And now, Mr. Edwards, good of you to join us. Welcome in this evening. All I'm going to ask is, did you win?
No, we didn't.
Oh, that's all right. But I would normally ask how you're doing, but considering we've spent all about the past, maybe just about the good part of 12 hours in a voice chat together watching different forms of racing, we're both doing good. And thank you, of course, for sort of ruining a bit of a night's sleep for us. I know it's a bank holiday for you tomorrow, so
it is
a reason to sleep in. But are you ready to I guess be a more active participant in watching a race?
I am. Do I have the lovely cams from your side? If I could please, sir.
Of course. As we are
Thank you very
professionals,
much.
I was entirely ready and definitely was fully prepared for everything that was going on here this evening. But it's still, as we're a bit of the way into the AM qualifying. It is Mr. Magruder, the younger of the Magruder pair, leading off for the moment, with Rem Wink going a bit quicker in the first sector. Sort of improvements across the field as they're getting up to temp, really feeling their way through this circuit. It's a nice day, a gorgeous Japanese afternoon, and I don't know. Cars are well suited to these conditions, and not that this is the easiest circuit to get around, Ted, but I imagine everybody's just getting a little bit comfortable out there.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that we have the chicane, because we do like the classic me and you.
We do.
But no, it is quite a fun track. Can be quite difficult in places. So we'll see with the GTs. They got no hypers, or am I wrong? Am I right? Is it just GTs on this?
It is just GTs. GT3s,
Well, that's
three
not too
classes,
bad, then.
AMs, Pro-Ams, and Pros. Between the two of us, there are so many races that we do that we kind of forget where we are and what time everything starts. So it's honestly a miracle that things go half as smooth as they do.
Well, at least they don't have to deal with a faster class of car, so they can just carry on and try and do their battles in somewhat a sort of peace. So, but at the moment, 27 minutes of qualifying to go. Car around there, then a lovely Porsche.
Yeah, that's Mr. Jérôme, as I've sort of gotten to referring to them. A driver with good pace, but maybe not the greatest start coming around. Only a handful of the remaining AM drivers sort of showing up for this round, which is all good news that points to this man, Mr. Magruder, who is, if anything, putting a bit more time between themselves in towards the last minute. This should be the beginning of all of their final laps of the session, as it should go to the staging period for the Pro-Ams any moment. But it's a 41.9, another couple of tenths, 5 tenths to the good of Todd Tillery in second. And I feel like we've had this conversation before, but how do you feel about the Lightning McQueen livery on a BMW?
I think last time I said it was too much red on it.
I think, yeah. I mean,
which is what the livery is. You know, so like you can't turn around and say there's too much red. But I think for a GT car, there's a bit too much colour. But I mean, it's a good livery. It works, and it's got all the right stickers on it, so I can't complain.
Yeah, the I guess canonically 4-time Piston Cup winning car, being driven by the young man who's looking to, I believe, win just about their first championship, which is the Amateur Class Cup here on Big Grid Sundays, and they're poised to do so. And I'm sure at some point I'll show the standings and read all of those out. But Magruder's going quick. Nobody else really there to match. Bryce McClafferty is in pit lane. They think that their 142.9 is about as good as they're going to get. After all, qualifying is important, but in a hour and 15-minute race, especially one that has double fuel and double tires, it will play out a bit longer, and there's always room to move up. But I do believe that maybe I was incorrect. These are things that I should check before races start about who's staging when, but I think any second the Pro-Am should enter the circuit, but it seems like everybody in the M categories still driving around, Ted.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Magruder went top again, went quicker with a 41.772, so another 10th gained. Tillery not gaining, but second sector was purple, but didn't improve, I don't believe. So stays, no, they did not. So they all stay 6 tenths behind. So they need to find, if they're allowed to keep going, they need to find another 6.5 tenths, which seems simple, but it's not. Wink in the BMW behind is only 100th behind, which is quite close. That Mustang there looked like it had a little bit of front snapping. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, when you're coming through turn 4 and onto the curb in turn 5, it's there's a lot of places you can get unsettled at Fuji. I think it's certainly a driver's circuit, and one that I think a lot of people, when they're getting to grips with LMU and sort of starting to learn more of the circuits, Fuji is it's a bit of a roadblock. It is entirely not easy, especially once you start getting into the third sector. That's where you're really going to find a lot of lap time. That's where you're going to lose a lot of lap time. It's these sort of slower speed corners. Most of them are blind. Most of them are off camber. If you don't have a good setup underneath you, if you're not conscious on the throttle, you can find yourself around all the way through the final sector and the final corner. No exception. You really got to balance the car. You really got to balance the throttle. But if you get it all right, this long straight down towards the end will do you good. It is purple again for Todd Tillery, but I think it's going to be into pit lane, not seeing the improvement that they need in the final lap. But pit entry practice, as any other driver that does a lot of endurance racing knows, that is important. That is all part of the race. As now we're starting to see the Pro-Am guys, a brace of Aston Martins getting ready to come on to circuit at the front.
Yeah, pit entry is an interesting one to get right, because obviously you don't want to be too slow and get on the pit limiter too early, but also you don't want to push it to its limit and then end it with a penalty. Because I think in this sim, there's 2 different penalties you can get for different speed, over speed. I think one is a drive-through, and I think one could be a stop and hold. So
I think it's
either
just
one
a
you
stop
don't
and go
want.
10. I don't know if it actually goes up to a stop and go 30 for pit lane infraction. Or at least I haven't seen
No,
it. You are correct.
and obviously if you go too fast, then you get disqualified. So obviously you don't want that one. You don't want any penalty. So it is tricky. I always like to play it safe, as I say, safe than sorry, because I've many times on other sims I've gone a bit too quick, and then you leave pit lane, and then you get the penalty, and then that's your race ruined.
I'm noticing something interesting on the side of this Aston Martin, and let me know if you spot it. Normally what is the LED board that shows the position doesn't seem to be on
Oh
the
yeah.
car. However, this is the first time I've ever seen this. However, the number's still there. So I don't know if this is a 2024 spec car before the LED boards were introduced, that something has happened, or it's just invisible.
Is there
No.
another Aston that we can look at?
Oh my good dear sir, of course there is. You can
Well,
see the
there's
board is on that one.
yeah.
That looks appropriate. So I wonder. I don't know. But it's a new one, and as someone who's watched
I
as
think
many
I know.
races as I have,
I think the livery on the previous Aston is trying to cover the board by accident.
Oh, that is a good point, because you can do that. You can actually remove the layer that basically displays that.
Yeah, so it's in the middle of the door there, just behind the wing mirror. So if we look at the other Aston, then because we can see, yeah, there you go. So they've put the WEC board on the LED board,
Yeah.
basically.
There's somebody in chat saying that maybe it's because it's an ELMS livery and not a WEC livery. They're actually they do have the ELMS boards on the car, but I do believe those also have the LED boards on them for ELMS. But that is a good point. I'm just curious why LMU thinks that there should be a number there, and it's there. I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny, and it's also rather importantly giving us something to waffle about while they complete their out laps and their first hot laps. Because after all, these are the guys that should be going quicker than the AM drivers who have already qualified. As Michael Beiling is getting ready to start and set the benchmark in their Aston, which for a while was sort of everybody's favorite in the meta field because it was very quick. Maybe it's fallen behind in recent moments, but as it stands, a 142.7, not the quickest they're going to go, of course, because tires will come up to temp, and you know how much, Ted, we absolutely love cold tires in this household.
Oh god, don't get me started, Jack.
It's we are both primarily hypercar drivers. That is our bread and butter. And if you've ever driven a hypercar or haven't yet driven a hypercar, if you think cold tires are bad on a GT3, a rude awakening exists for you guys. But yeah, it's about 5-6 laps depending on the circuit before you're at actual optimum temperature and out at good pace. But GTs don't have to worry so much. An improvement already for Bailing, and a good improvements throughout for some of our Pro-Am drivers, but nobody quite lighting up the times as of yet. But, you know, things are looking good, but there have been, I call them upsets, where there's been some really quick AM drivers, such as Cameron Magruder, who has outqualified a lot of the Pro-Am field. In fact, just before I went live, I noticed in the YouTube chat that someone was talking about that if Cameron doesn't get put up into Pro next season, that it's an inside job. I don't know if he's quite quick enough for Pro, but Cameron's definitely been showing his stripes, as it is, in fact, Mr. Stallard, who's waiting to qualify, the Pro driver, who's hanging out in here in the YouTube chat with us. Well, I appreciate you being here and listening to our beautiful voices.
I used to do a thing, Jack, when I used to run a championship on a Saturday night, where after each season, the top 3 from each class. So we used to have Pro, which is obviously your highest class. You had High Silver, you had Low Silver, and Am. So Pro and High Silver were in one split, Low Silver and Am were in another. And so High Silver, Low Silver, and Am, top 3 of each would go up to the next category, and they had to drive that next season in the next category because obviously they were quicker. And it worked out quite well for a while. And they always used to hate, like, they obviously wanted to win, they obviously wanted to do well. And then when they realised at the end of the season, like, oh, we have to go into the next category now. And some of them, it was meant from split 2 to split 1 with the faster guys. And I'm like, oh, it was quite funny.
Yeah, it's almost like you get comfortable. It's sort of the funny thing about being in a lower category. Of course, I'm doing air quotes. It's usually just, you know, a bit less experience, maybe not as quick, but like you get really comfortable. You're like, awesome, I think I'm gonna win this thing, and then ultimately next season, depending on where you classify for that, you're probably gonna get bumped up, and then you're like,
yeah,
awesome, I get to now race against faster people. But what if I wanted to stay in AM and win the championship?
But to be fair, a lot of drivers who got moved up didn't like the idea, and then after the season, they were like, I appreciate you moving us up because we actually got better at our pace and control of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So they improved by winning and being bumped up to the next category.
There's absolutely some truth to that. There's nothing like fierce competition, as bad as it feels in the moment. There's nothing quite like really good fierce competition that's going to make you better as a driver. As upset as I get for getting thrown into split 1 for, you know, daily races or whatever have you, I end up being like, wow, I had to actually work extremely hard. Not that I ever win anything in any split, but it's always nice to have a good challenge.
I got moved up from Am all the way up to High Silver, so it was from the bottom of Split 2 into like basically the bottom of Split 1, which doesn't seem a lot when you go bottom to bottom, but when you move splits like that, it's just like, oh my god. And I had to learn so quickly of how does a car work properly? How do I gain time? How do I drive it? How do I not kill the tires? And it was a lot of fun, and I learned really quickly, which, I mean, it did me great, to be fair. So I can't complain, but I couldn't do that nowadays.
We're washed. We're unk. We're unk now, and we're up.
We're unk status, yeah.
I'm not washed. I just know I do a better job here than I would in any of these cars. Maybe one of these days I'll take to an ARL championship, but oh, I would need some amount of consideration, and maybe everybody else in the field gets some weight added to their car.
Daily in the chat, he was one of the drivers that was with me, but we got moved up from the bottom split into the top split, and he remembers those days.
The good old days. Back
Good
when
old days.
back when ACC was king, before Le Mans Ultimate was even a thing, when R Factor 2 was still kicking around and was good but also really, really bad. And
Back when sim racing had its massive boom during that time in our life that we didn't know what day it was.
Back when everybody was wearing face masks for some reason. I know the reason, everybody knows the reason. But we'll say it's good to come from. We were just finished watching the the Monterey Cash App Grand Prix of WeatherTech. I don't know, whatever the heck the long name was that they. It's a new name pretty much every year, but the Laguna Seca IMSA race, and a Lamborghini took victory there. Am I willing for a Lamborghini to win this race tonight? I kind of always am, so yes, I'm willing for a Lamborghini, but Laurent Gheorghi currently
the Mustang took win as well, so
it's true.
You know,
and a Cadillac.
Only could be one winner here today. All right, let's not go on about the Cadillac.
It was a stellar race, and if anybody has about 2 hours and 40 minutes that they're not sure what to do with, go back and watch the replay of that race. It was superb. It was superb, and if you don't watch,
we was multitask watching as well.
Yeah, I think we had NASCAR and IMSA, like any good American would. Though I wasn't really paying attention to NASCAR because
Formula One at Miami, straight into NASCAR and WEC, not WEC, IMSA, sorry.
Well, we went GT World Challenge at Brands Hatch, straight into Miami, straight into IMSA and NASCAR. Like it was a day. Yeah, it was good people and a good voice call, and it was some good fun. And where better to end off the evening as far as racing concerned than inside of ARL. The Pro-Am guys, who quite frankly we haven't been talking enough about, are finishing up. It's Dion Campbell, who's at provisional pole for Pro-Am, followed by Laurent Gheorghi, who is second but third overall because Cameron Magruder's lap time was just impressive enough that, well, nobody could really face up to it outside of Dion Campbell. So I don't know, maybe BMWs are quick out here, Ted, but one thing's for sure, the pro drivers are coming on to circuits.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see some nice lap times out there, guys. See how they do against Campbell and Magruder, because Magruder's done a really good time, to be fair.
Absolutely. A 41, even just getting into the 41s is a very, very tidy lap. Super impressive. Good car underneath him and driven well. Qualifying is one thing. The race to come, a whole nother beast. But I'm just curious. It's a question of how many of these pro guys have the. I'm sure many of them have the ability, but will be able to put together a good enough lap to, beat out Campbell and Magruder. It could be. What if we had like a 1, 2, 3 all in different championships, all in different classifications? That could be something. I'm sure many a driver looking higher than that, thinking, let's lock out the front. Let's show these AM drivers how it's done.
Well, we have a nice mixture of cars today, which is quite nice to see. It does look like, again, front engine cars doing well, apart from the Lamborghini in third. So hopefully we can get some Porsches up there. Maybe some Ferraris to split them up a bit, because we've always seen in LMU that the front engine cars have a bit more favour and work better, not just in qualifying but in race pace. And me and you like to see the the different manufacturers up in top 10, top 5. So hopefully, uh, some people can put in some nice quick lap times.
I think so. Eyes are on Luca
Ooh.
Raza here in the 296 championship leader, multi-race winner so far in this championship. Has been an example of the balance between outright pace and a little bit of fuel and tire strategy. But I have a feeling, though this is their first lap, that it very well may be the quickest lap we've seen thus far. They're purple in Sector 1, not in Sector 2. That was Miguel Saba in the Porsche who has that for the moment. But we'll see as they crest the final corner. Bit of straight six roar as we come through. The 296 is going to get ready to cross the line. Can Luca Raza get up to the top? Miguel Saba can. Will they be deposed? They will be.
Ooh.
6 tenths, about 7 tenths for pretty much both of them over what the Pro-Am was able to do. I think, if anything, Ted, that is a representation of the gap from the top. These guys, they can drive a race car, I tell you what.
And that's what we should see. But that's the gap we should be able to see from these top drivers. Not saying the other guys aren't great. I mean, being 6 to 7 tenths off is actually not that bad. Like how I used to do it was when I was in a higher, like going against higher rated drivers or different higher class of drivers. I would expect myself to be about a second off. So being only 6 to 7 tenths off is actually really good.
Oh yeah, it's still certainly an achievement. I think the gap might open up a bit more, but it's super impressive already from these two. And it just means that, as Richard Farah is also running third, we have 4 different manufacturers in the top 4, and nothing gets me more excited than that. It's one of the things I say LMU is the best at, is the BOP. From time to time, they get it a bit wrong. Maybe they made a certain French hypercar way too fast and everybody drove it all the time. But in LMGT3, it's always been pretty good. Miguel Saba back up to pole position, or provisional pole position, rather. Luca Raza deposes immediately. These two trading lap times, 300ths between the two, and they still have 5.5 more minutes to decide who is the absolute best. But the BOP in the LMGT3 has always been quite good. It seems like just about anyone at any point can, take any car and be reasonably quick. And I think that is fantastic. Rear engine, mid engine, front engine, V8, V6, V10 even. It's absolutely wonderful. But Richard Farah, at the moment, going for a bit of an improvement. Maybe can challenge for provisional pole, but it's going to have to be a heck of a third sector.
Sure is. We'll see when they come across the line. And I don't think so, no. Oh. Well, less than 5 minutes to go. See if anyone else can climb. Have we got any? I don't think we've got any Mustangs in the pro category, do we?
There might be. I think there is. But I don't know if any of them are here today. I get to play the infinitely fun game of who's in what category, and I ultimately never know. But there's
no one out on track.
Yeah, there isn't a Mustang out on circuit. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ted Edwards, the Mustang man. Well, just the V8 motor man. It's Mustangs and Cadillacs.
V8
for this
motor.
Guy. His eyes twinkle every time. In fact, he was heartbroken today when on the last lap the Cadillac, the 31 Wayland, lost the race.
That was very sad. They shouldn't have had that extra lap.
But it was such a good fight. You can agree that was
it was a good fight. It was just very annoying that the Cadillac didn't have tires for good enough tires to stay in front, but these things happen. So But that's the thing, like in any racing, it doesn't matter if it's endurance or sprint, you've got to have the tyres to back you up. If you don't have the tyres, or you've hurt them earlier on, they're going to come back and be an absolute pain when you're trying to hold someone back and you're losing vital tenths through corners, and it's not the corner entry. You can get that sorted out. It's the exit where you can't get the grip down quick enough, and your traction controls kicking in, your lights are popping up all over the dash saying got wheel spin going on, and the next minute in your rearview mirror you've got the guy behind you saying, "You're right, mate. My tyres are great. How was yours?"
It's also a tricky thing in qualifying when there's double the tire usage, which actually ends up being a bit more than that, as Brent Abbott decides that's enough for them. But I did just spot that Luca Raza, a minute ago, he went back into pit lane and came back out, possibly for another set of tires. I don't know what the restriction is on tires, what the limit is on the number of sets, but there is a good chance that it was some more fuel and also possibly a new set of tires, because after 4 or 5 laps around this circuit, you'll take the edge off. You might not be able to go quicker. Luca Raza going a bit quicker in the first sector. We'll see if there's an improvement in the second, but I think those fresh Goodyears hopefully give him the edge, maybe putting some distance between themselves and Miguel Saba, who, speaking of Saba, is not improving on the older tires. So definitely a bit of an interesting, not something you're used to seeing outside of Formula One, is tires not lasting a full qualifying session.
Yeah, we've oh, cutting the grass. We've known that when we've tried to do qualifying and stuff, and getting the tires up to temperature. Like it's for instance the hypercars, like you say, it's so difficult sometimes, and you obviously get them warmed up for 2 laps, and then you're like, right, I need to sort of get my foot down, try and get some pace out of this thing, and then you sort of burn the tires up too quickly before they actually get into a decent operating window, and then you're like, well, these tires are not working great, but I can't take another one because it's got limited tire sets, and I don't want to rob any more from the race. And it gets tricky, and I think it's the same for these GT cars. As much as they look more planted on cold tires and they get warmed up a bit quicker, it can still, one little mistake, one little lockup, it can ruin your qualifying. In a race, a little lockup here and there is not too bad, as long as you don't flat spot them too bad, wear them out too quickly. You can still race them, but qualifying is so difficult at times.
Yeah, it's the car is turned up to 11. You're running as little fuel as you could possibly need, and every extra gram of prime rubber you have on your tires, it can make the difference. Raza up in the first sector again, down in the middle. The third sector is where you can find a lot of time if you're really, really tentative, which looking very clean, looking very good. Actually, superb line out of the final corner, and not critically not using all the curb on the exit. You think you want to go as wide as you can, but you going up and over that curb, you're losing pace. But I think Raza's going to be heading into pit lane, as that will be the end of their qualifying. As important as the pit lane practice
What a good pit entry.
It was a stellar pit entry, but track limits robbing them of possibly that final time, maybe the previous one. I think it's just Ricky Bobby and Michael Byling, maybe Craig S, that are on circuit.
That's not the track.
That's not the line.
Oh, it's going for photo opportunities. He's making sure like all the camera guys can get good pictures of the car. That's what he's doing.
Yes, it's the last man standing, Tetsuo Hideyoshi, and a driver who I must say has struggled a bit in qualifying as far as I've seen it. But once it comes to race trim, that Porsche gets a lot quicker. News from the YouTube chat that I'm certainly a bit late on. Turns out that Cameron Magruder is being taken out of the BMW at the end of the season. As his dad says, no more easy Bimmer. and he's going to get into the 296, which I hate to break it to you, the BMW, I think across most circuits is actually slower than the 296 at this current stage. So don't know, could be wrong, could be mistaken, but neither of those cars really being at the primo top of the field, but that is qualifying as it stands. I hit the wrong button. That's the right button. Overall, hopefully everything ends up staying as they get ready to go underway for the grid.
I think that's broken.
I can tell you that is certainly broken because there's one specific name, the man in P6, who should be in P1. That's one of the limitations of what we got here on the LMU broadcast overlay. Thank you, Paul, for your wonderful work in making this program as good as it is. But we'll take a look at the car park at Fuji while we go through the championship standings, because I do know that works, as Luca Raza not only is on pole today, but leads the championship in the pro class at 195 points, followed by Richard Farah. Not a pretty tight field, really, up in the top 10. It's sort of all to play for coming into the penultimate round, so plenty of moves to be made if the pace is there. Miguel Angel Saba in third, Wally Johnson is in fourth, Ricky Bobby in fifth, Rob Ruggiero in sixth, Lois Uncle Ross is in seventh, Daniel Kent in the let's just call it tricky to drive Corvette is in eighth, Mike, the occasionally fastest man in a V10 car, but and who perhaps refuses to fuel save, is in ninth, Jeremy Tryon is in 10th. In 11th is Tetsuo Hideyoshi with Steve Bernard in 12th. Brent Abbott is in 13th. Enki Fui is in 14th. Joshua Nelson is in 15th. And Kevin Riviera and Raymond Ryu are tied for 16th and 17th in the pro category. Jeremy Wazin leads the Pro-Ams in first with 173 points. Michael Byling in seventh with 168. Super top in the top three with Randy Magruder in third with 164. Unfortunately, he's not here and won't be here since I believe he's in Tennessee. Bryce Charlery is in fourth. Daniel Campbell in fifth. Sixth place is Juan Botero. Francis Roman in seventh. Cedric Larcher is in eighth. Ninth goes to Laura Gheorghi in the beautiful, stunning, amazing, incredible Lamborghini Huracan LMG T3 Evo 2. I am not biased at all. In 10th position is Craig S. Edward Pena is in 11th. Michael Beleda is in 12th. And Cameron Magruder leads the pro class, or the AM class, excuse me. And it appears that I forgot to switch everybody's numbers in the AM class. So I know it says 5th. I promise he's in 1st. As Jeremy Cyril is in 2nd. Remwink is in 3rd. Shrob Diani is in 4th. 5th is to Todd Tillery. 6th is to Edgar Herrera, and 7th, and unfortunately last, is Bryce McClafferty, though they did join the championship late, so plenty to play for them there. As my infinite professionalism, Ted, means that nothing was wrong, but everything was timed very well as we're getting ready to get this formation lap underway.
Yeah, let's see what these racers can do. It's going to be an interesting race, actually. Got quite a few drivers here today. Hopefully, this is probably going to be a commentator's curse, but hopefully there's not going to be many incidents. We'd like to see an incident-free race. A bit of door banging we don't mind, actually. And that's the thing I like about this sim. You can do a little bit of paint trading and you're all fine, so...
Yeah, we'll see as they're getting ready to go green. Any moment is one of the longer times you spend on the pit limiter going straight. You're like, when's the green? When's the green? It's any second. Look, Raza ready to take the green.
I'm always slow on.
Is it later? It's a little bit later.
Yeah, I hate this.
Almost to the line. You think it's there, but it's actually further ahead. We should be green flag just about now. Green flag racing at Fuji, and a really stellar start for Richard Farah in the AMG. He might be following Luca Raza through in second, a bit 3 wide there. Cameron Magruder up to a decent start, up to play with the Bro, boys, Luca Raza braking for turn 1 on the outside. There's Miguel Saba. Ignore that. Nothing happened. I don't even know what happened. But Richard Farah not getting it quite right on the brakes, but holding side by side, getting ready to go into turn 4 with Miguel Saba on the inside. He drops back. Rightfully so. You don't really want to go too wide into Coca-Cola corner, but I think critically, Ted, not a lot of drama. It doesn't look like anything went terribly wrong, though there's still plenty of time as everybody gets stacked up going into the third sector, where it's going to start to get a little bit testy. But a great start for the pole sitter. Just about everyone's starting where they were. Maybe not the best start for Cameron Magruder, but I think, fortunately, is still ahead of the rest of their field.
Yeah, excellent start by all drivers here today. Hopefully they can all keep it up. The thing is, oh, there's some sends in the background. Oh, I'm seeing some sends in the background.
Yeah, 3 wide into the chicane at turn 10. Still 3 wide coming up the hill. Looks like we've got a Rexy Skelly Lexus. We've got the Corvette of Daniel Kent there. He, I think, might have missed qualifying, or I don't remember seeing him really at all on circuit, but everyone somehow made it out of that with at least most of their car intact, and I think critically most of their bowels maybe where they left them.
Yeah, I wonder what happened, because we just saw them stacking into that chicane, and I was going to say, I wonder how people are going to deal with the chicane, and I didn't, and I wish I did, because like I said before, we both don't like the chicane that much, because it ruins the momentum, and I think we like to have that removed because it flows a bit better. But I mean, the chicane does make good opportunity to do some overtake, some sending, maybe some around the outsides, ready for the left-hander. So it can be quite fun. And Raza has just John while these guys fight up in front. We're on board with the Porsche of BSR, and they're trying to make a move on the inside. We didn't make it with the acceleration of the Mercedes. And coming back up, he's going to go for a move. He's thinking about it, but no, it does not. It's pretty sensible play. Ferrari behind as well, trying to get in there. More.
Looks like
more
a bit
stuff
more
going on in the background.
I think
dear me.
a couple of cars getting together. That's actually Cameron Magruder, who's all the way down in 17th. So I think something absolutely went wrong for Cameron. It can be extremely tricky at race starts and in a race in general. The two BMWs maybe trading a bit of paint. Is Remwink and Brent Abbott just ahead. The McLaren now of Bryce McCafferty looking for a move through the final corner. Has it through, but critically, do they have the exit to stay ahead? Sort of. It's a bit of 3 wide going down towards
I thought they were
one.
squeezing the Corvette, then I got a little bit scared. But the thing is, we did have a yellow flag with Abbott in the back in 24th. Wonder what happened there, but we like a bit of argy-bargy, as long as no one spins around. Because sometimes you do have to do a bit of race rubbing here and there, especially into like a chicane. Maybe you can't help it. Maybe you hit a curb wrong, and
I'm hitting all the wrong buttons.
you bounce out. But you're hitting all the wrong buttons, are you today, Jack?
I am. It's been a while. It's been a long week. But
a little bit rusty.
No, we did. Yeah, I am admittedly very, very rusty. This is the first time I'm back on LMU in like 2 weeks. So, and I don't have nearly the practice you do. But no, absolutely. A little bit of argy-bargy is always nice. It's once you go over the limit and start spinning people that it gets a little bit tricky. What do you think? Is Jerome going to
happen into the chicane?
I was going to say, is Jerome going to go for it?
Oh.
Is McLaren and McCafferty going to go for it?
That's the question.
I think they're about.
Oh, it's so tight.
Oh, wait!
Oh!
The BMW is all over the place!
Oh, no.
Oh, it looked like it was Remwink just very all over the place. Coming out of the corner, sort of got it sorted, almost lost it again. Take a look back at that immediately, because I want to know exactly what happened.
I want to know what happened to the 46.
Oh, starts to lose it, hits the brakes. Everybody stacks up, loses it again. Back into McClafferty, and everybody got through except for the McLaren because he was the closest one to the incident. So
it's just a racing incident there, Jack. Nothing can be helped. You know, Wink tried to save the car from going into the wall, which is what you don't want. Obviously, stamped on the brake pedal, which is probably the best thing to do, but for the McLaren wasn't the best thing. Wrong place at the wrong time, and yeah, and then obviously tapped the BMW. The BMW then tried to get back on throttles, almost lost it again, and then they both had a little bit of a cuddle. And Wink came off the worst, but these things happen. Hopefully, the McLaren can get back up to racing speed and claw some time back and get some overtakes taken. So just have to wait and see. But Raza, 3.1 second lead.
And you ready for something? This is something I'm familiar with, but look at the energy already. Luca Raza's got greater energy than pretty much anybody in the field. Yeah. And is that
because he's fighting. Yeah, he's not fighting. He can just chill at his own pace and just keep that distance and
control the race. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's super impressive. Everybody else fighting behind Raza's got the fastest lap so far. Probably continuing to go a bit quicker, but definitely managing the pace. It looks like Miguel Saba is thirsting for the move on Nelson just ahead.
Nelson's going to be loose out of that last corner though, Jack. So
yeah, I think so. But the Ferrari seems to have greater speed though. You can see the gap still opening up. They're about even coming out, but doesn't seem like that the Porsche entirely had the legs on them there down the straight. And at a circuit like Fuji, if your car isn't quick in a straight line, it's a bit tough. It's a bit tough.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like it, but there's quite a few straights in there, even though they've got a few slight corners, especially come down here to, I can't remember what corner it is, but you got left-hander. Through here, you want the grip. You really want the grip through here, so that's probably the main advantage of not having a low downforce setup. I was trying to get there. But because on the braking, you see the Porsche gained up in the braking zone, which you'll see rear wing downforce will help. Down here into the chicane, like this is quite long, so you're losing time on the straight. But in the brakes, look at that, straight on the back of the Ferrari. But then it's on exit, the Ferrari will have the better acceleration due to the low downforce, and then onto the straight, you'll see here in a few corners time what will happen.
So close. It's so close on the brakes.
Porsche's hooked up so much because of that downforce. I'm guessing that's what it is. Obviously, two different cars, but then also most likely two different types of setup.
Oh! That was very loose.
Scary. But Saba's right in the slipstream now, right in the slipstream compared to last time. Let's see what happens. Let's keep an eye on that gap. It's sort of stabilized. It's not coming down as quick as I would have thought so. So I think Saba is on a higher downforce setup, because that should have come down quite at least to a 10th on that main straight.
Yeah, but it hasn't quite happened. Rather interestingly, but
no,
I think this pair are going to keep going. It's in different manufacturers, different cars, different engine layouts that all sort of cars created for not different purposes, but they're created for the same purpose in different ways. And the way you set it up is almost equally important. I think, Ted, you're right on the money regarding who's on a low downforce, who's on a high downforce. Just ahead is Miguel Maleda, who's thinking about a run on Richard Farah, who Farah has been very quick. Well, both of these drivers have been very quick, but it does seem that in the twisties, the Porsche looks superb. It's just only on the straight where it's a bit tricky.
Porsche is always good in corners, always has been. The AMG, on the other hand, let's see what it does when it gets to a straight, because I know from other sims, the AMG is pretty quick on a straight line if you have the right setup. So let's see, because obviously the front engine's going to impact it through the corners, but let's see that gap. It is expanding at a decent pace, so it's just pretty quick still, which is nice to see. As we see the portion of Ferrari in the background, almost too wide at this time. Going into
Just
turn
about.
one.
Around the outside of turn one's so difficult, even if you're in a Porsche, even if you have better brakes. It's
Switch
just
back? Question mark? No.
no. Oh, but maybe a
Ooh.
run down to 4. Not quite.
He's got his nose in though.
He's got his nose in. Is he gonna stay there
on
though?
the brakes?
Oh,
yeah.
no!
No!
That's not what you want to see into turn 4. I had a feeling maybe that would be what happened.
Saba, I said on the brakes, not his corner.
Oh,
not the corner of his car.
Oh. Interestingly, though.
Oh dear. Oh, and then the Ferrari of Nelson has just stopped. So
yeah,
maybe questioning on how to rejoin the track without hitting anyone.
Maybe questioning keeping the race going after all. Maybe a bit frustrated.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to get reset and
Hopefully it's not
rejoins the
damaged
race.
too much.
I wouldn't say it's that much. Maybe a little bit of maybe a bit of suspension damage.
I think it was more of a push into a spin rather than like a hit into a spin.
Yeah, and
but it's difficult to see from our angle of what each driver did. Obviously, we know the Porsche was later on the brakes because it is better on the brakes compared to that Ferrari. As I said before, due to the setup. Did the Ferrari come across? Oh, it looks like from this angle.
Yeah, it's kind of telling. He hits the brakes and hits it enough to the point where they couldn't really turn at all. That car immediately was sort of edging left and then immediately straight. And there just really isn't room for two cars to go through.
It looked like Nelson was already committed to getting the brake on, getting into the corner, rather than like, oh, I have a Porsche that will probably send it on me inside. I need to be a bit wider. So it could be a fault on both drivers. I would say that could be a racing incident. But Saba didn't wait for them. Now the Ferrari did sit there, so it's a questionable thing. If the Ferrari got back on track, if it was me in the Porsche, I'd have been like, okay, that was, it could be mostly my fault. Which I think if we had stewards, they would probably say the same thing. And I would let the Ferrari back through just as a sorry, let's try this again at some point.
Well, the good news is we have some fantastic stewards that after I believe every single race they pour over every single incident, not ones that are they don't have a ticket system. They have some sort of tool that caches, I think, contact, and they look at every single one. So that will get looked at. That will get decided. But it was definitely, I would argue, as Kevin Boss. Hello, Kevin, first of all. Funny to see you here. I'm sort of in agreement with what he's saying in the YouTube chat that if anything, that would be on the Porsche, not significantly alongside all that good business.
Michael Sutton said it's a racing incident, both a bit silly, so I'm on that side.
We'll see. We got a bit of clash. So
it's like I say, Porsche late on brakes.
It's
already
tough to tell.
Sort of alongside.
I don't think it's open and shut.
It's like there's a few different things that have happened in that one incident. It's not like, I mean, it's not a straight cut of, oh, the Porsche just went in and Ferrari tried to give space but washed out wide, or the Ferrari just cut across straight away, like way before the braking or whatever. So it's difficult.
Yeah, that's Bylane going for a move on the other Aston Martin, the wonky non-LED paneled Aston has gone through, and
I wonder what place. Oh, they're the 5910, but on the other side they are the 1059.
And they're the number 20 on the. Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
It's quite funny.
It is quite funny. I will say, I did see something on that onboard, which I think is only exciting to you and me. This is not the one I'm looking for. One moment. You know what? We'll stay here. This is nice. As they come into turn 10, Aston v Aston. This is not what I was trying to prove, but there might be something here. but not quite. It's just so difficult to get a run. Maybe there's a little bit of room in the braking zone. Space was left.
Like there's a move on the
if
inside.
you see Mr. Edwards, look, the mirrors work. Look.
Oh, they fixed this now.
Yes. This has been something we've been complaining about for quite a long time.
It
always was upsetting.
When I broadcast Fridays for another community, we're sitting here, and normally the rearview mirror up top, and then the one in the car for the driver is like just a black screen, and we have no idea apart from looking at this gap what is happening. So now we can see if this Aston Martin tries to go for a move into turn 1, which I should think they are, because they're about 10th. Oh, they've gone defensive, going around the outside. But oh, it's so nice to see. Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw it briefly, and I just felt like it needed to be celebrated. Looks like it's going to be another fight in turn 4.
In the back? Did someone spin in the background? It was the 95. It was the LMU.
Oh no! Oh! It's got a bit worse.
No, not the McLaren again.
Oh, John McCafferty.
With another BMW.
Really not having a good day. We're going to take a look back at that hit with the riggedy replay. That's Tetsuo Hideyoshi.
Kevin Estra.
As Cameron brakes late and
a boop, a lovely nice boop, and then reversing. Full, okay. Oh god.
Stops in the middle of the circuit, starts to reverse. Oh, and doesn't wait long enough.
Oh, no.
It's such a difficult thing to do, to wait. But I will say for Cameron, that didn't look like an unassisted issue. It certainly wasn't. I think that maybe a bit of a misjudgment from Tetsuo Hideyoshi over the apex.
Yeah. They got pushed. Magruder got pushed around, but the
not waiting and reversing onto the racing line is if a penalty is going to go the way of the Porsche, you also are going to get a penalty for something like that. Traditionally,
it
is unsafe. It is, it's unfortunate.
From me, that looked really intentional. Like, I know it wasn't because they're just trying to get off the racing
track. The timing of everything,
but they go into the racing line. Yeah. That's the worst bit. But I mean, we're just commentators. We just see we just commentate on what we see. Where's the Mustang going? That's not the circuit, as we see the Aston Martin going back on the other Aston Martin.
I was gonna say, are we gonna see another run down to turn 4? I don't want to see it again, but no. I think Botero's sort of knowing that you tuck in, but it was very good on the brakes, but it shows that he went a bit deep. So Beiling said, cool, I broke well for this corner, so I'm gonna just have that position back. The old switcheroo, as Craig S in the Porsche is looking fast and on the attack. As soon as we're off the straight, and apparently doing a bit more lawn mowing, I think Craig was also lawn mowing in qualifying, so it might be a bit of a return of that, but the lawn mowing might have cost them just a bit.
No,
not quite. Francis Roman just waiting.
But, very early on the brakes there, but
tentative is the word I like to use. They're being cautious. You know, sometimes to finish first you have to finish, and don't bang up the pretty Mustang.
Well, they say, Jack, slow in, fast out, and to be fair, it worked. I thought it was a silly thing, but slow into a corner and fast out of a corner is pretty sensible, especially into that chicane.
Yeah, I refused to accept it for a long time. I'm like, but to go faster, I just brake later, right? Isn't that how that works? That is not how that works. That is not how that works. But it's still sort of the same story at the top, admittedly. Wonderful work from the camera team there. Beautiful. Drink Coca-Cola, ladies and gentlemen. No, Luca Razza is still holding firm up at the top. If we take a look at where the energy's at.
Oh wow!
Still going their way.
5%, 4% difference on the Porsche of BSR.
Yeah. The interesting thing is,
that's quite interesting.
Michael Blader does have the fastest lap
so much.
I think they're pushing
compared to Saber. I know Saber's been in a spin, but then again, you look at CS down in 12th. They're on 28%. So yeah, Oh, 25. It was 26, so it's 25%. So they've used quite a bit. So Porsche is hungry on. Well, Porsche is hungry. There's a Ford that's a bit hungry. Lamborghini's on 27%. You've got the two Astons, 10th and 11th, 29 and 27%. So there must be a fuel save sort of strat here somewhere. Maybe turn one, maybe the chicane, lifting, coasting, and getting a brake on. Some other drivers just doing fast in, fast out sort of idea.
Yeah, I am seeing, because we missed it happen live in the race, but Loy's Uncle Ross, who is sitting in pit lane, or was,
He's
it
in
was due
YouTube chat.
to a network
Yeah,
outage. So they're no
yeah,
longer,
that's
unfortunately, racing with us this evening. That is
a
the,
shame.
I like to think of it, because let's be honest, it sucks either way. It's very unfortunate. But I like to think of it as the equivalent of random mechanical failures you get in real racing. You get, network outages. Maybe your cat comes and steps on your keyboard and shuts the game down.
You know what it
It's
is?
like blowing an engine.
An engine sensor's gone on the car, so it doesn't work properly. There you go.
There you
That's
go.
what it is.
There you go. Ricky Bobby looking good through the hairpin on the BMW of Dion Campbell. Ferrari seemed to be pretty quick in a straight line, maybe a bit quicker, a bit of a wiggle, a bit of a weave. They're sort of trying to communicate with who's going where, maybe a bit of miscommunication.
Could have sent that, I think. Could have sent that. It looked like he was going for it, and then he was like, nah, and then he was like, I'm gonna hit the car, so I might as well try and get the inside a little bit more.
Yeah, it is close for this sort of top six.
Lamborghini, Mustang.
Yeah,
In the background.
See if the battle button works with us. Today.
That's the Lightning McQueen livery that I'm not a fan of, because it's all red. It looks better on the BMW.
Ooh, a bit out of shape, but Dion Campbell leads this pack that is 4th through 9th. Laurent Georgi maybe having a bit of a run on the Ferrari, but not as much as when I was expecting. He is gaining. The overspeed starting to kick in. Going defensive does the Ferrari. And on the brakes, they're about even, but the inside line is to the Ferrari. Therefore, the corner is to the Ferrari. But I gotta say, it's been a great race for Todd Tillery, who is, I think, the leading amateur driver who didn't qualify superbly, but has been up to 8th position overall, which is very tidy.
And Watson's done really well as well.
Yes.
So Mustang's not doing too bad right now. Hopefully gain some more positions there. As we see, Watson going to go for a move on the Lamborghini. Round the outside, not going to make it, maybe. It's still too wide. Now into the chicane. If Mustang can keep round the outside, round the outside.
Confident on the brakes.
The left-hander, but didn't get it into the corner as well as they would have hoped. Now they've got Porsche overtaking the Mustang in the background. Artillery going into the final corner, and the Porsche does make it through. Not the final corner. I forget there's an extra bit here.
There's an extra bit here.
There's that little extra bit. Then now we're coming to the final corner, Jack. I forget where we are.
I think most drivers would prefer if Sector 3 was one corner shorter. But
it's very tricky because it's off cambered left-hander, and when you go into the braking zone, like LMP2, I drove around here in a fixed setup, and it's very easy just to spin the car. It is very annoying because you have to be so careful on brakes, and you have to use the corner to help slow yourself down. But yeah, Porsche did get through into the final corner on Tillery.
Yeah, it looks like it's very clean for this sort of battle here. It is interesting. I was going to say, maybe I'll hold my breath for just a moment. Get a little bit close into turn 4. But remarkably sort of clean. Everyone's very close. Fighting in a pack like this, it's sort of easy for things to go wrong. Maybe a send from Ige Saba in the hairpin, just about. Between Wazen, just about got it. Maybe Todd Tillery going to follow through. But the power
Oh
of the
God.
V8 motor. Oh, it
Oh.
seems that maybe wasn't
Oh God.
sort of almost rubber banded backwards. But here's Todd Tillery on the brakes on Miguel Saba, and well. Seems like a bit of pro versus am
They do keep it
action.
for now.
Yeah, they've held on to it. It does. I will
Mr.
say,
Boss.
Wasn't
No,
moving
not
around a
Mr. Boss.
lot.
Sorry.
I'm wondering if there's a bit
Michael
of.
Sutton says. Oh.
That could be why it looks like it's really moving around a lot. Is because it is running.
It's very low. Yeah, yeah.
Low. You can
Mr.
see
Sutton
that.
says it's low, and yeah, it's scraping. That's why I paused because I was trying to look at Tillery. I was thinking it was a paint scheme because the whole front is red. Like even the splitter is red compared to like other GT cars. It's a carbon splitter, or you know. Whereas obviously on Lightning McQueen here, it's red. So obviously black splitter will blend in with the shadow with the track and stuff, so it doesn't look too low. But maybe it is lower than we think, because it is scraping in every corner by the looks of it. So
that is something I've noticed on the Mustang though. But you can see Jeremy Wazen. If we sort of maybe the camera will show a bit more of the front of the car. You can see there, and then if we look at Todd Tillery, there is a visible difference. One is scraping, one isn't, of who's running lower. But I do think that there's maybe a bit of high ping for Jeremy Wazen, because that car is sort of dancing.
There's also damage on the front.
In a not race car fashion. It's dancing in a, oh goodness, I have a lot of ping and the server's trying to do a lot of work. So, but
I think there's also a bit of damage on the front. Not like heavy damage, but I don't know if that would move the bumper a little bit.
Oh, wait a minute.
As we see a Ferrari off in the background.
Yep, that's Ricky Bobby, who suddenly started dropping down the order. Clearly something happened just a bit. I can locate where it is, but it's nothing that...
I did see that the Lamborghini's got 2% energy.
Yep, I think everybody getting ready to come into pit lane. I think
that Mustang's so scrapey.
I think Luca Raz is going to go around again.
Oh, hello, here we go.
I do think a lot of cars are going to start to enter pit lane.
McLaren is yellow flagged and dropping.
Oh, so we're starting to see the beginnings of the pit lane, but I don't actually see anything on the replay for what happened to Ricky Bobby other than that just went slow. So clearly a mistake, but still stayed on the track, but it wasn't a yellow flag. But it does seem that Luca Raz's fuel saving, as well as Richard Farah, Michael Saba, Jeremy Wazen.
Saba's done well.
Yeah, they've all sort of done enough to get an extra lap, which ultimately is what you're looking for.
Saba can do another lap more than these guys.
Maybe. I don't.
I think
it's about 6. It looks like about 5.8% a lap, 6% if you're really pushing. Yes. So it would be some to do for Michael Saba to basically pull 2 sectors worth of fuel out of thin air. But everybody down pit lane. I'm going to guess just about everybody taking tires, though there's no way for me to know for sure. But I can look, I can try, we can guess. But Luca Raza from the lead of the race is going to come down. It's Michael Maleta would be the next closest to Raza as of pit lane. Maybe one is going to take tires, maybe one isn't. There could be a bit of an offset there. As you can see in the top left of your screen, Raza's pitting. His energy's filling as Michael Maleta's getting ready to come down towards turn 10. It's not a long pit stop. It's certainly not the longest pit lane of the races in this calendar. But
Saba didn't pit. Neither did Watson.
Oh.
No, they did. It's in pit lane, I'm guessing.
But
I'm hoping.
I don't think Jeremy wasn't.
Yeah, they did.
He did. Okay. He's getting turned around. That was an odd angle to be coming into.
I guess it only registers in pit when they get into the box. Because it looked very weird, because they overtook him in pit lane, but didn't say it was pit. So I was like, I hope they're not gone again.
Yeah, but we'll see. Luca Raza should be coming out of pit lane now.
Here we see the wildlife.
But it's going to actually be pretty close, I think, as Michael Maleta is not quite through, but is actually closer than maybe I was expecting. Coming out alongside Richard Farah, though. Maybe a bit more heat in the tires, though, but maybe getting a bit displaced by the Mercedes on the inside. So that is a direct result of that extra bit of fuel saving, because Michael Maleta was ahead before the pit stop. Richard Farah, after this first pit stop, has retaken the position. But I don't think it's going to go the way.
Ooh.
The up and under, though.
Question mark?
Up and under, question mark, indeed. But I think the Mercedes has the pull on the exit. Actually, there's not much between them, so it's going to be on the brakes. We know the Porsche's very good on the brakes. As you can see.
As we can see here.
Yeah. Virtually slamming the door on Richard Farah. So, Michael Maleta is
there in this Mr. Maze a 2 times tire wear?
There is 2 times tire wear.
So that's probably what's catching some people out in that first stint. That's probably why we saw some sliding, some people overdoing the tires a bit too much. We did see it a few times. The Ferrari of Nelson out of this corner, out of the final corner here, getting a little bit loose with the rear. So maybe just warn them a bit too quickly, which is easy to do. Me and you have done that many times in the hypercar. I think that it's a bit easier to do in those cars.
Some more than most.
Because we rely so much on the downforce, yeah. So we've been there. We've been on the struggle bus.
We've all been there. I will say that was like a direct sort of comparison. We really only see Porsches chasing other cars down a straight, but it was about 3/10 that Farah got chasing the Porsche down the main straight. So Porsche is certainly on the back foot in terms of top speed. We aren't just making that up. So the beautiful thing about being the only 2 people that anybody could hear is we can say whatever we want, whether it's right or wrong. Ricky Bobby on the back foot.
Sorry.
Sandwiched between 2 Mustangs.
Very nice. I think I haven't driven the GT cars much. I've driven the Mustang fixed to get out a rookie and to get a badge so I can do the champ races and special events. And I drove the Mustang fixed at Monza without the first chicane, so I can't really say how these cars are in racing on different tracks, but it seems like the BOP is in a really good position right now. Like the Porsche, not great on the straights here, but really good through the corners and on the brakes. Whereas the other cars like Mustangs and the AMGs can decent through the corners, not too great on the brakes, but they gain it back on the straights. So it seems pretty nice and even.
Yeah, it does seem quite good. And there is a handy dandy sheet floating around that shows you what cars are the absolute quickest and not. And it's super track dependent. It maybe seems that the Lamborghini Huracan is on most circuits, or on more circuits than most, is perhaps the quickest car, but I think it's very even. I mean, it should be track dependent. That's sort of how BOP works. Is certain cars are suited to certain things, and
it does seem like that though.
Yeah, it feels like that, and I think that's an important thing that's maybe overlooked. Is does the BOP feel balanced? I mean, it does. We've got 4 different cars in the top 4. Beyond that, it's pretty much a scramble of manufacturers in the top 10.
All we need now is Hypercar Bop to be a little bit more fixed, because I'm bored of seeing Peugeots in every single race we do.
Yes, I agree. As somebody who drives a Peugeot, I'm tired of everybody else driving the Peugeot. I kind of want it to be a little bit worse. So
we didn't take it because it was the best car. We took it because it was different, and then
we thought we were being interesting by driving a Peugeot. Lo and behold, the BOP would favor it unlike any other car we've basically ever seen, to the tune of entire splits of endurance races being a single car, that being the Peugeot.
We did Qatar, and I think out of the 13, 14 cars,
I think it was out of like the 16. I think it was out of the 16, 12 of them were Peugeots.
Was it 16?
Imola was a similar story.
Ferraris and a Porsche, so
Imola wasn't quite as bad, but after that weekend, it got 20 kilograms at Imola because of how strong it was.
You've been told to leave the Peugeot, Jack.
No. I spent
Cadillac. He needs to go to Cadillac. I agree, Randy. I agree.
Hold on. Once we're done with the team championship, we'll switch out of the Peugeot. But the reason we were driving it in the team champ is because I spent a very long time on a livery for it. I'm getting my money's worth out of that livery, and it looks fantastic. It's
not a bad car. I do like the car.
It's very compliant. It's sort of easy to jump into and run on a circuit.
I need more American noises though in my ears.
Okay, listen. The next team champ, we'll drive the Alpine, which is basically an Acura, which is basically
looks like I'm not driving in your team then.
No, we'll switch it up. Maybe we'll run the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh.
All right, so can everyone vote in the YouTube chat, those who are around, what car we should consider, what hypercar we should consider for the next team champ on LMU. I'm willing to take suggestions. I know I've sort of become the de facto guy who decides things for the team, just because I was very just like, hey, we're driving a Peugeot because I made a livery. But
no one asks what I want to drive because they already know what I want to drive.
It starts with a C and ends with Cadillac. Or it starts with an M and ends in Mustang.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
There's a race one, Jack.
I was getting to that. Tetsuya Higashi, though they may have had a bit of a struggle in qualifying, have sort of found themselves a bit lower in the pack, has made themselves up to a comfy 11th at the moment, chasing Juan Botero in the Aston just ahead. Is this the... No, that's the Aston with the correct LED panel, not the incorrect LED
Is this Grello livery had Red Bull slapped on it?
It does seem like it is a Grello Red Bull hybrid, and I'll be honest...
It's a real livery, is it? Like, the two... is a real Grello livery, but with Red Bull on the rear wing and...
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't hate it.
It looks like a real livery.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I questioned it, because I didn't know if it was like a crossover or like... I don't hate it.
Usually I see Red Bull cars and I vomit a little, because everybody who I will say my rule is any F1 livery, I'd say current F1 livery, because there's some like sort of vintage F1 liveries that people put on cars that look stellar, but current F1 inspired cars I don't like, and honestly I'm scared of the people who drive them because they think they're an F1 driver, which means race to the apex, which we don't do that here. We don't do that here. But no, I think it looks quite good. The Grello, as in green and yellow, sort of complements the blue and the red and the gold of the Red Bull. I don't know. Looks quite good. Good news, bad news, Ted. Michael Sutton agrees we should drive the Lamborghini.
No, he put a full stop at the end, so I don't think he agrees. I think he's shocked and like you mentioned Lambo.
He's disgusted.
Yeah.
Michael Saba, who's honestly struggled to get past cars on the straights, is going for a maneuver here. It's going to have to be one heck of a send. I think it's more the effort of getting in the mirrors and maybe forcing an error, which might have just about happened. But we saw it earlier on, something that can happen in turn 4. I'm wondering if a lesson was perhaps learned.
Saba is really quick. Looking at those last lap times compared to Campbell, 4/10 quicker, and does have a faster best lap. So they are quicker in the Porsche. It's just getting past the BMW, which now, after that little mistake, is done. So that was easy. but now they've got 19.5 seconds to third, which 35 minutes, just under, is not a difficult thing to do. Depends what times the AMG is pulling in their sort of clean air they have.
Well, Mr. Richard Farah, their last lap was a 42.8. So about 6/10 quicker than Miguel Saba.
Well, Saba was fighting in dirty air, so hopefully we get to see over the next few laps what lap times they can do in this Porsche and see if they can climb back quicker. Yeah, 42.799. Obviously, this lap for Saba will still be slow because of the overtake on Campbell, but we will see. As another Porsche and BMW start fighting.
It seems like this is like a thing tonight where it's Porsches and BMWs. They just sort of happen to pair up a lot on circuit, and it's not a complaint. It is merely an observation because they're giving some absolutely stellar fights. It's Rem Wink and Craig S, or CS, as they are showing on the timing screen, which I think is kind of funny. But it's another episode of, hey guys, Porsche's not very fast in a straight line as they get onto pit lane, or as they get onto the pit straight.
Not really gaining much.
Not gaining, but in fact, well, a little bit. And a little bit of a lift and coast as well. Which I was sort of curious. Seems
interesting.
About 50 meters early there or thereabouts. I sort of, my spidey senses started tingling because I'm used to braking at the 150 in a big heavy hypercar, and I saw a breeze past the 150 and I was like, oh goodness, they're not going to make the corner. Oh, it's a GT car, they got this.
Mr. Randy in chat says, Jack, you realise you're trashing poor Ricky Bobby. I think he's on about the
yep, the livery that's on screen.
Livery, yep.
I
don't mind it.
Listen,
but
I said as a rule, as a general rule, there are always exceptions to the rule. But as a general rule, I'm not the biggest fan of F1 inspired liveries are a little bit better.
Livery. It's the HP livery.
Yes, yeah. But it's sort of, this isn't like a direct sort of copy of the standard F1 livery. There's a bit more accent to it, which makes it look a little bit better. But I am still going to be scared of Formula One livery cars when they're behind me. Yes, sir. Mr. Edwards.
Watson decided not to take the tow and then took the tow. I don't know why they didn't follow, but not too sure because they do have a very nice McLaren. That livery is
I was about
to
say,
pretty.
I'm really a fan of that livery. That is Mr. McClafferty, who's in.
It reminds me of Miami.
It's got that Miami Vice to it. Yep.
Yeah. It is very nice. The white, the sort of pinky red, and the like dark. I think it's a dark blue. I don't think it's black. I think it's a nice dark blue. It just looks very nice.
As a Floridian, I do take a reasonable amount of offense that when you think palm trees, you just go, Miami. Not that there's palm trees in the entire state.
I know. But it's because Formula One was at Miami today.
I know. Also, that sort of art style is a bit more generally just sort of tropical in southern Florida anyways. And when people think of South Florida, they think of Miami because that's all that people know. Miami and really the Keys. There's a lot more to Florida. As a lot of racing heritage I've sort of realized in Florida. One of the many things we talked about today was sort of the fact that Florida has more famous racetracks and famous races than pretty much any other state in the U.S. Someone please correct me if they know better, but I don't know. We're kind of spoiled here in the great alligator infested meth head state place thing. It's sort of, I feel a little bit bad for the man in McLaren, Bryce McLafferty, because almost has the pace on Ricky Bobby, but no, I turn this on to sort of further represent that they are a full lap down and they just sort of relegated to, you can try to unlap yourself,
Yeah,
but it's
because
a difficult thing to do at the best of times. You have to be so
McLaughlin
sure that you're faster.
it's been in 2 incidents, haven't they? They were in the incident at the beginning. I forgot what car it was. Oh, the BMW, the Rossi livery, in the chicane. Tried to save the car. It was funny enough. It was with Wink, I believe. Tried to save the car, slammed the brake on, got a bit of bump in the rear from the McLaren. Then again, trying to save it just a little bit after, and came together again. And then out of the first corner, I think it was first corner, the Lightning McQueen livery on the BMW reversed and tapped the rear end. So they have been in the wars today, which is very unfortunate and sad. As we see a yellow flag for Kent again. I think that was just a little bit of off track.
Yeah, I think so. Confident on the brakes from Rem Wink into turn 10. Really getting up the rear bumper of the Aston Martin. But, like, it's just... overtaking's difficult at Fuji. It's like a lot of the WEC circuits. You really have to work to get past another car. And without the well, I guess assistance, or rather the maybe inhibition of multi-class, it makes it a bit more difficult. You have less to work with because it's just you and the other person in the other car, which, I mean, that is ultimately racing, but you know what they say, multi-class giveth, multi-class taketh away. It can involve and change the face of a fight, but no, it's just two front engine cars, and there's not much between them. Wasn't a much between them, and it sort of seems that the gap is beginning to open up, as I think that we're starting to get a bit closer towards that final pit stop. I don't think anybody's gonna make it. I mean, the best of them, which is Luca Raza, he's got 7 laps remaining thereabouts, depending where he is on circuit, and that's not going to be enough to get to the end of this race. So,
Is there 2 times fuel usage as well? I'm
Yes.
guessing.
yes,
Very nice indeed. So yeah, definitely won't make it. As we can already see, they're under half of their fuel usage. They did fill up to full in that first stop, and they've got 27 minutes left. So they are. I don't even think heavy fuel saving at the start of this second stint would have worked. It would have been very close if they did, but you would have been very slow.
yeah, I
So,
think
oh,
bit of a torch in the final
I
corner.
just love this sim. You can do that, and you both don't spin as long as you can hold it.
It's just so good. The what became less and less of a joke was many months ago on another broadcast. Me and my other commentator, we were talking about the class leading netcode, as Studio 397 referred to it. It's become less and less of a joke because it is so impressive, the level of rubbing you can get to, and how hard you can race without any concern whatsoever of something happening outside of your control, which is ultimately what netcode comes down to. It isn't the fault of any one driver necessarily. I mean, you could be like, oh, I shouldn't have put his car there so that there could be netcode contact, but at the end of the day, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And when it's so consistent and so great, it just means you can do absolutely ludicrous moves and just completely going too wide through corners you shouldn't, and you know, really trying to force your way through the inside of a corner, and it's great. It's fun at the end of the day.
It's funny that we all talk about netcode, but we all know there's actually only one sim that has a problem with it. Because ACC didn't, LMU hasn't.
ACC wasn't perfect. There was some.
It was more
the collision. It was very bouncy. If you touch somebody, you boing them into a wall.
It wasn't netcode. It was more of like you tap someone and their car, like the physics could just go a bit wacky. Because like we know the curves in that sim are very weird sometimes, like sausage curves. Like you can cut, doesn't give you a track warning. but will still make the car be a bit weird. So obviously you have to mess with the setup to still be quick and still be able to take the curb. Whereas like LMU is different. Like you can still hit a curb. Some will spit you out, and you can't change the setup to work with that. So you shouldn't be able to hit an anti-cut curb. But there's this other sim that just doesn't know how netcode, you know. But we're not going to go on to that rant today, Jack, because we'll be here for the next. We'll be here until the end of the race.
There's a lot of time. Well, the good news is this time we're not looking at that sim, so we don't have to talk about it.
Yes.
If you know, you know. That's all I will say. And if you're curious, I don't know. There was this race at Sebring a couple of weeks ago. It's a couple of months ago at this point. Lord, time flies. A couple of drivers are already in pit lane. What I'm thinking they're doing is they know they can make it if they full fill. So rather than waiting till they're out of fuel, they pit now and sort of go for a bit of an undercut. So I'm curious. Nobody really at the top of the field. I did see Edward Pena, who I think was in 8th or 9th when they had stopped, and possibly they might gain some ground on that. So maybe we'll take a look once the pits start to go. But everybody who went in, filling up to 100% and re-entering the circuit. I'm going to try a thing because I think it might be working. Ted, let's see. I think that's actually correct this time. For the longest time, if you look in the tower, you can see positions gained. For the longest time, it didn't work. And today, it seems finally that it's functional, which means we can shout out some of the drivers who have the biggest gainers. First one that pops out to me, Tetsuo Hideyoshi from 20th all the way up to 10th. Todd Tillery up 8 positions to 7th. Jeremy Wazin up 7 up to 6th. So extremely good, extremely consistent driving. You know, sometimes make less mistakes than the other guy. You don't have to be the fastest car. Not saying that they're slow, but you know, consistent, good, solid pace can lead to a heck of a result. Michael Molina was one of the cars that pitted just a moment ago. So it'll be interesting to see because they were running in 2nd position. So obviously thinking something needs to be done differently on the strategy for them, Ted, but they haven't been fuel saving enough to match the likes of Richard Farah and Luca Raza. So I'm not sure if it's going to pay off. What do you think? What's your 2 cents?
It's very, yeah, it's difficult when you got a 2 times fuel, because we did that race where it's 3 times fuel and tires, and it's like you think, oh, 2 times fuel usage or 3 times whatever, and tires, it will just do it to by times 2, which you think it does, but then your fuel usage goes up a bit and stuff like that, so it all like goes weird and doesn't go how you would calculate it. So it's gonna be it's interesting because we've been there and we've gone, oh well, there's probably not really a point to fuel save too much because you're just gonna need to take fuel anyway and tires, so you might as well just go at a normal pace. So it's interesting to see some of the drivers fuel saving, some opting to not and just take the fuel or go in early, and it's interesting to see where everyone actually filters out after this last stop. We know Raza is already way ahead and doesn't really need to think about that.
Oh, good, my favorite camera again.
The AMG in 2nd is in, we call the Dalton zone. I think Saba is struggling. They are doing the same lap times as P2, but just can't go quicker to gain that time back. So it's been about 15 minutes they've been sat there, 20 seconds behind. So, and it's one of those things, everyone's pretty split apart from the 2 Mustangs, and then this train that we're seeing now fight for 9th. Porsche, Mustang and Aston. So these guys are probably the ones that will start thinking about, when do I pit? Do I try and go for the undercut? Do I try and go for the overcut? Because I'm not actually too sure what will work on this sim in the GT cars.
Yeah, it's kind of the general rule of thumb. It seems pretty much across the whole sim is just go till you run out of fuel, put in fuel. That's Tetsuo Hideyoshi going in. He's going for a bit of an undercut. I think he has energy for probably 2 more laps at least. So everybody's sort of considering a little bit of an undercut here. Maybe sort of thinking that squirrely on the brakes.
Oh my god, I got scared then. I got very scared.
Just a nervous guy. Always getting worried. I gotta say, Cameron Magruder back up to 12th, excuse me, back up to 11th provisionally. Of course, a couple of cars have pitted out of the way. But a good recovery drive from, let's be honest, being at the very back of the field about 45, 50 minutes ago. So, good from them. Maybe still more to hope for, and a couple of positions really to get up towards the likes of Todd Tillery to take victory in AM. Maybe just a bit out of reach. Cameron's fast, don't get me wrong, but not a lot of time and a lot of ground still to gain for them. Everybody starting to trickle in. And as we see, everybody in the top 11 hasn't taken their second stop. Honestly, most drivers haven't. I think spare for 6 drivers, I believe. The highest of them being Michael Moleda. That's a bit of a story to see, is who will be leading, I think, the fights between Richard Farah and Michael Moleda there. But a bit of a train coming into pit lane for the bunch. None of them really having enough room, so they're all going to pit one after the other. And it seems that people get nervous at this circuit when it comes to entering pit lane. You can see just about everybody's in there. That's Ricky Bobby. I think a lot of cars really starting to run out of fuel. As this is Miguel Saba, one of the best drivers on fuel that we've seen here tonight. This is not a fight for position. I'll just let you know. That is Tetsuo Hideyoshi in 16th. Saba is, of course, in 3rd. I think Saba's actually going to have room for another lap, which will match.
So 9%, yeah.
Basically the other top 2 of Luca Raza and Richard Farah. We'll see. Yep. Raza's going through 1. Committed to that second lap. As I think Raza's realized their fuel usage has gone up a bit this stint. Realized that maybe saving any more than they already had wasn't really gaining them much. They had a comfortable lead. They know that you don't want to throw away track position. Oh my goodness.
I think they hit the flasher as well. Trying to grab that wheel back. What a save.
That
that would be the commentator's curse right there and then.
Yep. Yeah, slam dunk.
Oh my god.
That would have been on me.
Oh my god.
Change of pants for the number 35, please. Change of pants for the number 35, please.
I want to take the GT3 into an endurance, like a special event or something. Just a one-off thing. So I want to see, like, because I've driven GT3s, GT4s against a faster class, and you know, with the multi-class sort of thing, and see how the slower class of car drives, because you always get the faster class of people in, and they're always moaning like, oh, why are they in my way? Get out of my way! Oh, that's not how. But then again, it's the faster car that needs to learn to overtake and whatnot in the area, and the slower class car needs to stick to their line. And I also want to see like how that feels in LMU, and also how the fuel usage and stuff, and the strategy, because hypercar strats are a lot different than GT strats.
Not as different as you think, at least in my albeit limited GT experience. It's not as different as you'd expect.
You don't have the tide compound difference.
True.
The fuel saving is a little bit different.
It is a little bit different, yes.
So I wanna see that aspect, but it would have to be Mustang.
Coming to a theater near you, an American and an English American in a Mustang driving slowly. Ooh, it's a look for Ricky Bobby
Oh
on
my God.
Georgi. I was thinking maybe the Lamborghini
Yeah.
would turn in as if he wasn't really there. But Ricky Bobby has driven extremely well, but maybe doesn't have the legs this time down towards the turn 10, but has confidence on the brakes, though. The thing about the Lamborghini that I think a lot of people don't realize, A, it's a pretty difficult car to drive, but the level of rotation that you can ask for and be given on the brakes is a completely insane. You can brake probably 25 meters later than you're supposed to, and you will still make the corner. That's why you see these ridiculous sends from Lambo drivers. It's just that's how they've learned to drive, and one of the reasons why I really like driving it.
I haven't driven a Lambo in a very long. I mean, like a good 3 years from ACC, and it was decent. And like, obviously, you had the Audi as well in that sim, so they were basically the same car, the same engine. I think, there was some differences, obviously, due to aero and downforce and whatnot. So I wouldn't say no to driving the GT Lambo.
All right. All right. It is the best sounding car. It's better than the Mustang.
It does
been a long way.
no. It does sound good, but it's not better than a nice V8.
It's they both got their merits. The Mustang does
They
sound
do.
fantastic.
It's like the Valkyrie. Sounds amazing. Looks a bit wacky with that massive rear wing, but it still sounds good. Like I will say, it does sound good.
It does sound very good. The story coming out of pit lane though is it's gone the way of Michael Moleda by quite a margin after the undercut. It was early. I called it. I thought maybe it wouldn't pay off, but they're ahead by some margin in the last sort of 12-ish minutes here at Fuji. 70 or 60 minutes down. 63 and a half minutes down, 62 and a half minutes down, if you really want to be specific about it. But everyone's sort of, at this point, the field's just about spread all the way out. I say just, but it's maybe a bit of a rematch, a little bit of a love tap from Hideyoshi. These two aren't really fighting in class, but it was very tidy.
Excuse me, I would like to come through now, sir. That was the message.
I'm wondering, did Cameron maybe let him through? It isn't a fight for position. It isn't a fight for points. Something did occur earlier in the race, but through turn 12, not a very common move. One you can get done. One I'd say on the classic variant of the circuit, which is the one without the chicane, you see a lot more. But it's sort of an interesting overtaking opportunity, but, well, Tetsuo's through and then some. But fortunately, no drama between the pair this time. I think Richard Farah might have made a bit of a mistake at the pit stop.
Oh dear.
He's filled the car completely. He's brimmed the tank, which I think would explain the 6-second delta, perhaps.
Saba is 10 seconds closer after the pit stop. 10 seconds is a lot of time.
And 10 seconds is about, well, actually, half a tank of fuel is actually a bit more than 10 seconds, I think. I think it's closer to 20
So let's have a look at lap times. A 43.5 from Farah. Let's see what Saba can do on their lap.
I can do that. You can do that.
43.9.
So the pace is, I think, dropped off a bit. Maybe across the field. Maybe
not change tires.
Maybe not change tires. Of course, if this were, as Michael Sutton realized in the YouTube chat earlier, they were saying tires no way when I was talking about the first pit stop. Once they learned that it's double tires, yeah, maybe. But I'm wondering if everybody didn't take tires, and after You know,
Hmm.
a pretty lengthy stint. It's going to be about sort of 45 minutes,
Because
which
that would make sense.
is,
Why,
you know,
like, yeah, it's
it's
interesting. We
basically a
don't know if
double
they have or
stint.
haven't.
Yeah, it's basically a double stint of normal usage is basically what they're doing in about 45 minutes. It says that from what I can see that they took tires, but I also know that that's maybe not the most accurate thing. Of course, the Porsche on the rear is Jerome, so this isn't a fight for position as dramatic as it looks. Not quite
He just wants to be on
the same
camera.
lap. Listen, I say no more, my good man. The camera is all yours. Welcome. But it's going to be short-lived because I think we have a bit of a
Oh,
battle. It thinks that maybe Laurent Georgi's dropping off the pace a bit. Because it was Ricky Bobby that got
we
through. They
do,
lost
yeah.
5 seconds
Oh dear.
in the last couple of
We,
laps.
I want to see the 83 Mustang remain, get up into P10 because that'll be 3 Mustangs in the top 10, and that would make me very happy. But this
Well,
fight though is getting very spicy. Let's see if the Mustang can gain time on the straight compared to the Lambo. Slowly. Now
oh,
the overspeed kicks in. Now the
yep.
overspeed kicks in.
But not a lot, though.
No, it's
I'm
not.
kind
No,
of
it's
impressed
not.
how quick the Lamborghini's seeming.
Now you got to do it on the brakes, but you got to do it properly.
Yeah, we'll see. Into one.
Oh, hello, already in
Very
front.
confident.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Now
just
this could be an advantage or disadvantage. Advantage is you don't have the dirty air. Disadvantage is now you got pressure because you're not in control. You're in control of the car not overtaking you. But saying that, Lamborghini's not quick. What's happened?
I think those tires are dead.
So are we
Did
thinking that some
Georgi
guys,
not take tires at any
yeah,
point
we
in this
thinking
race?
some people are taking tires and some people haven't taken tires. Because this is what it feels like.
I mean, this is what it would look like if you were running. Because let's say double fuel, an hour and 15 minutes, 2.5-hour old tires. Yes, you can triple stint tires, maybe not quite on at Fuji. I mean, there's quite a bit of degradation that you experience at the circuit. So I'm wondering if we're seeing, I'm doing air quotes, triple stinted tires, because they are ultimately triple stinted.
Because we can compare the hypercar tire wear and like, not the wear, sorry, the hypercar tires and the GT tires with older tires compared to new tires. We can compare that because it's basically the same situation. You could say this is a Lamborghini hypercar and the one in front's a Cadillac. And the Cadillac's got better tires than the Lamborghini. Is how you can think of it like this. You can think it like this, right? American car, Italian car.
I won't disagree.
And
I like it.
One's older, one's newer, and you can just see that after the overtake just drops instantly through because it's corners and that's where grip counts. On a straight, you're fine. Like it's just corner exit and braking. That is where the used tires are going to suffer a bit more. But we saw through the corner, they just dropped down to 0.8 back after the straight, and it was just you could just see like everything's not right. Now we know there's no damage on the Lamborghini. Oh no!
No, not the Mustang!
No, don't do that!
No!
No!
We're good! We're good! We're good. Well, Todd Tillery was doing phenomenal, but do you want to know what this means? There is now a fight for who wins in AM. This brought Cameron Magruder back as yet again the Coca-Cola billboard.
Camera. But he's high bet cameraman.
Yeah, man, I pay them way too much. I need to hire somebody better. But Cameron Magruder's back in this.
Okay, so Tillery didn't lose any AM spots, but they are just now a second away from losing points in class.
Correct.
Which is not fun, and Tillery's done such a good race so far. 5.5 seconds left. Sure, 5.5 minutes left. That would be a very, very interesting end. To hold this off now, gotta keep an eye on both front engine, different cars entirely. just have to see what happens because it's going to be interesting. Let's look at last laps. Magruder was a second quicker last lap. So 1:44.072 compared to a 1:44.923. So no slipstream, losing time at the last corner. That's going to help Tillery. It's all about braking. It depends if they take both shaking tyres. That's
you said it was 1 second last lap. It was 10 seconds the previous. Obviously, Tillery had that spin, but
well, you can't compare that last lap, Jack.
I'm just making a point.
But a 10-second loss is big, and of course they dropped loads of positions, not for points, but still beating other people in another class, a higher class, is always a nice boast. But look at that, already dropped half a second through the first sector.
Yeah.
So is Tillery on all tyres and was like, oh, I've got an easy, I wouldn't say easy win, but nice position to sit in where I'm so far ahead. And now it's, coming out the first corner, taking it too tight, getting on throttle too quickly. And now they are here on the struggle bus.
Yeah, Cameron's really quick. Cameron's really quick in comparison.
Yeah. Well, we saw that in qualifying.
Yeah, they were, but not even that big of a difference. And on pace this race, in terms of best lap, you can look at it. Not much between them, but I wonder if this is a case of Cameron took tires, Tillery did not.
Yeah.
Because it sort of looks
like that.
Yeah, that BMW looks a lot more planted. And out of corner exit though, out of the final corner. Drop. Yeah, that is arguably the most important corner.
I love this camera.
It's so great. The car. Yeah, we're basically sitting. If there aren't back seats, of course, but if there were back seats, we're sort of 8-year-old kids sitting in the back of our dad's Mustang.
I'll be there, yeah. Oh my God, sniff.
Close, the big sniffer BMW, sniffing away. So but we're sitting in the back. We're 8 years old. We're driving to the supermarket and we're looking and waving and making rude gestures at the car behind. And, and now our dad's getting tailgated because we angered them. And of course it's a BMW because it would be a BMW driver. It's a beautiful story.
Lights.
Yep. Cameron, if you can hear me,
if you can hear it,
hit the button, hit the machine gun button.
I know you're fighting for a position. Just press the button.
Please press the button. But this is going to really come down to the very end here. I mean, there's really just not a lot between them to any extent. I think advantage Magruder. However, he's got maybe 2 laps to overtake. Possibly. I don't think that Raz has started the final lap yet, or excuse me, has started another lap yet. And
there's also a fight for 10th going on as well.
Depending on where they are. Let's see. This is going to be this is going to be the telling here thing right here. Is what are they going to look like through the
also has
corner?
More virtual energy.
I think
not sure if that converts to fuel.
It looked like a better line, but it was a bit squirrely on the exit. It was just it was a bit
higher downforce for the BMW.
Maybe. Yeah.
It has to be. Yeah, even though they're half a second back, you should be gaining. Like they're gaining now. BMW is gaining now, but that's just. I don't know
looks
if that's
better on the brakes. Looks way more confident on the brakes though.
Which?
Oh no!
Oh,
Tillery's round. No! For Todd Tillery, it was going to be a last-minute fight. It just has to get it back going. I think it's those worn tires and big torque from the Mustang.
Yeah, gotta be. It was just looking back on the YouTube. Just see
that looks
too tight. Look, too tight.
Yep.
I think that could have been a little bit curb, or it was close, and it's just too tight getting back on throttle. You need to go wide on that.
Absolutely
exit.
Right. Yeah, you really don't want to take. Some cars can take that curb and apply throttle, but
not
that Mustang with those tires, and probably not
and you're
the
so
Mustang
heavy on the front, so heavy, and you're light on the rear because you ain't got the fuel in the tank. compared to what you did at the start of the stint. So you need to go wider.
Fine margins.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
it's just how the car is. A Porsche, a Ferrari, a McLaren could take the title line and be better, just because of how the car is, and that's what I like. Cars react differently due to different fuel loads and weight, basically.
Yeah.
Weight distribution.
Well, we haven't said it yet, but hats off to Cameron Magruder. He had the pace to catch up. He was in the right place at the right time. Ultimately, applied the pressure that was needed.
Something happened at the beginning of the race, which we don't know what happened, but they just dropped like crazy.
Yeah.
And now
I do believe Luca Raza is about to cross the line for a bit of a dare I call it a quiet drive, a measured drive.
I would say so,
to take victory.
Oh.
And that's an extra lap for whoever that is.
Oh
you
no!
Gotta do an extra lap now.
That was Wink in 18th, I believe.
He's got to do an extra lap now, whether he realizes it or not.
Oh no!
Michael Maleta crosses the line. Richard Farah is going to be the next to do it, to step onto the podium overall, and in pro class does so. It was honestly. It came down to overfueling the car. I think they lost second place because of that. Michael Saba is going to cross the line in 4th in pro class, immediately hitting escape and returning to the garage. They said, I will not drive an extra foot. I am done. Deion Campbell crosses the line. Ricky Bobby does the same. And with the weave of the century, Jeremy Wazen in the other number 95, they're going to take victory. In Pro-Am, I'm pretty sure Laurent Gheorghi in the mighty fighty Lamborghini comes across the line in 8th. Joshua Nelson in 9th. Tetsuo Hideyoshi just behind in 10th. A good recovery drive from them. Francis Roman comes across the line, as does Edward Pena. And here comes
I can hear a Mustang doing
Cameron Magruder, who immediately just doesn't even give me a moment to finish what I'm saying. Hits escape and comes back to the garage.
I think it's the game. I can hear a Mustang doing donuts.
Where is it? We'll see Todd Tillery cross the line.
I think it was them.
Rem Wink, who had to do the longest final lap of the bunch.
Poor guy.
Is Jeremy Wazen? There he is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I know a Mustang burnout when I hear one.
In the gravel. But yes. Cameron Magruder did take victory in AM. It's 2 V8s. One that
we can see the S in the review mirror.
Arguably sounds a bit better than the other. One's turbocharged. It isn't as loud.
Where's he gone? There he is. Sorry, I'm enjoying the mirrors.
A bit of celebration, well deserved. It is a win in class after all.
I will say as well. Nelson did very well to get back up to 9th. Because they had a few hits and bumps and stuff. And they also got spun by the Porsche, by Sabo.
I think you're absolutely right.
So they did really well to get back up to 9th after all that, which is not too bad.
Not too bad at all. Here are your race results as they stand here at round 5. We'll see if the time's still. Well, I think the times are all basically broken.
They are broken.
I know for a fact that the order is correct. The fastest lap is correct, which ultimately is really all that we care about when we go to bed tonight. But Luca Raza, in championship fashion, takes victory in the penultimate round, poising himself in a very good spot to take victory next week. Michael Maleta in second position. Didn't fuel save the most, but did drive the fastest. So a bit of a reverse of what I expected to be the perfect strategy. Richard Farah, maybe overfueling just a little bit, just about half a tank too much. Miguel Saba in 4th, Deion Campbell in 5th, Ricky Bobby 6th, Jeremy Wazen taking victory in Pro-Am, Laura Gheorghi in 8th, Joshua Nelson 9th, Tetsuo Hideyoshi in 10th. I wish that the server wouldn't close because now I'm just looking at a And a bat. Hold on. I'll get something slightly prettier. Nope. Here you go. This is slightly prettier. It's acceptable.
I thought you were going to put a pug on there.
Oh, I could do that. No, I won't. That'll take too long. That'll take too long to load a livery in the showroom. As much as it'd be. Oh, hey, you guys can see my driver rating in case you were wondering if I was slow. That was silver one yesterday, and I won't say why it went down, but it wasn't my.
I found
fault.
a wall.
The 8 hours of Monza were not kind to us yesterday. Anyways, Francis Roman finishes in 11th position. Edward Pena in 12th. Cameron Magruder taking victory in the AM class in 13th. Juan Botero in 14th. Michael Beiling in 15th. Craig S. in 16th. Todd Tillery from the just the last moment. Such a fine margin, but that's what it's all about. 17th in the overall. Rem Wink is in 18th. Cedric Larcher finished 19th. Daniel Kent 20th. Jerome in their Porsche finished in 21st. And Bryce McClafferty, possibly the unluckiest driver of the day, at least the one we saw, finished in dead last, with Brent Abbott and Loy's Uncle Ross not finishing and the other 5 not contesting here at Fuji. I have to say, Mr. Edwards, that was pretty fun. That was pretty good.
It was pretty good race, to be fair. We saw all different strategies, and I think we can agree that some guys at the end, the last stint, didn't take tyres, and some did, because that Lamborghini just dropped like a fly after the first sector, after getting overtaken. So
sorry, dropped like a fly.
I think that's the saying.
Nope, dropped like a rock is usually what I've heard. Flies don't. Flies fly. They don't drop.
We're on 2 different continents.
Okay, I would like any British.
I'm googling.
Person,
I'm googling.
Go for it. I hope you do Google it. I would like to be proven wrong. Because then I will start saying "dropped like a fly" to confuse everybody on this continent.
Oh, it's dropping like flies.
All right, that
meaning
is
people or things are falling. Oh
yep,
no, I can't say.
Dropping like flies is another saying, but dropping like a fly.
I'm not saying on YouTube what it means, because I don't know if it will come back on.
Then don't.
I'm not gonna say it.
Don't. We've had such a good.
Anyway.
We've had such a good night. Don't ruin it now.
Anyway, it was a good race. There was some spins and stuff which could have been avoided. Like the Nelson and the Saber one was. It was one of those things where it's borderline a racing incident, borderline someone's fault, but it's very difficult to see because you need more camera angles. We only had the 2, one from the corner, one from looking at the corner, so it was very. We couldn't really put it down to see what it was, but apart from that, the rest of the race was good. We saw some cars really good on the brakes. We saw the different setups from what we could see with the low downforce, high downforce through the corners and on the straight. So it was a really good race, to be fair. I quite enjoyed that tonight, Jack. And it was not a dull moment.
No, it was quite good, and thank you, of course, Mr. Edwards, for staying up late and with us and enjoying a bit of racing action here on the here in the free world. I don't think I've ever made that comment before, but I'm going to stick with it. Here in Freedom Land. But no, thank you so much for joining me in the box. It was a absolute pleasure as always, and as it sounds, it seems like you and I will be back in the box again, but more on your time schedule rather than on mine. But thank you to all the drivers, of course, for driving and putting on a wonderful show for us. Thank you to everybody who's in the YouTube chats, old friends and new, who joined us and kept us company. Congrats to all the winners in class, and I think a bit of a championship shakeup in points. Maybe some drivers putting one hand on the trophy and others getting a bit further away. But it was a great race overall, and we'll be back, hopefully, my own life depending on where I am come next Sunday. If you enjoyed what you saw here on America's Racing League, go to americasracingleague.com. That will tell you all the things about all the stuff. Join the Discord. Check us out on SimGrid. Just about every day of the week, there is an event going on. Some days there are multiple events, not just on LMU, but iRacing, ACC on console and PC, LMU, of course, and AMS2. Got lots of interesting and fun stuff upcoming, not least the second running of the ARL Indy 500 on AMS2. If you feel like turning left for a while, that should be a good time. There will be an official qualifying event for that, which is going to be cool and unique. I will be broadcasting poorly. I'm not an oval specialist. I'm not an open wheel specialist, so really stepping outside the wheelhouse, but it will still be a fun time. Regardless, any of these races that you fancy, sign up, talk to drivers, hang out, join the grid, watch the broadcast, all that good stuff. If you want to commentate or broadcast, I leave either to you. I'm happy to have you in. Bring a good attitude. Send me a message through the Discord. All of that. Your qualifications, they don't need to exist. So I'd just be happy to have somebody, because sometimes I get lonely in here when Ted's not around. So, but one final thanks from us here in the booth for tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, however little that might be. Be safe. Look both ways before crossing the street. Use your indicators when you're driving. Don't be a BMW driver generally. And have a wonderful, wonderful upcoming week. And that'll be it from us here at ARL. And we look forward to speaking with you all soon.